see.
Good to go.
Good to go. Good evening. I'd like to call this special meeting of council to order. Moved by Councillor McGuinness, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that the special meeting of council be open at 5 p.m. All in favor? Carried. Is there any disclosure or pecuniary interest in general nature thereof? We'll proceed with our agenda. And this is with respect to the condition of Development Road. I did contact our CAO on Friday after our tour of the roads, where council had, or it was the general consensus of council that possibly we should amend our plan as to what we were planning with just doing the part of the development road and doing chip seal, putting gravel down and doing chip seal, with the possibility of doing the pulverizing of a portion of development road that's in such rough shape. And our CAO has put together something for us to look at, and with the possibility that we may not be able to do anything next summer. That is why I have suggested, and I believe that council has thought about it as well, that we pulverize the worst parts of development road and just put gravel down. There's the issue of maintenance on it once you put the gravel there. And I know when we think about it, maybe some people might think this is not the best way to go, but we have purchased a grader that we put a lot of money into. And the main issue with the gravel would be the maintenance, I believe. So I think what I'll do is read the motion. Our CAO has prepared a motion, and then I'll ask council for their comments. Okay. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor McGuinness. Whereas council has passed the capital budget with road improvements started in 2023 as ditching and gravel on Pine Lake Road and chip and seal on Development Road from South Shore Road to Line 3. And whereas the condition of the remaining portions of Development Road are also in poor condition, now therefore council agrees to pulverize and gravel the remainder of Development Road in 2023 if there are additional funds in the budget. I'll ask the question, or what your thoughts are on it, Councillor McGuinness.
Thanks, Your Worship. I guess my only question is there a budget for this, and how does it affect going forward? Like we're spending a lot of money on that 4 kilometers, right? So we were pretty tight on it. I don't know where we sit on the budget of it. Sorry, did you have something to say?
Well, I didn't know if you want me to answer the questions or if you wanted to just ask them all and then we can have a conversation.
Well, okay, well, we'll ask them all and then we'll have a conversation. Does that work?
Okay.
Okay, so I appreciate absolutely the mayor bringing this forward. I think that it is something worthy of consideration. I guess my couple of questions would be, one, does it make more sense to, instead of just concentrating on a couple of bad sections here or there, like can we look at pulverizing the really bad 4 out of 8 kilometers that are remaining? And does that make our life easier from a maintenance perspective? But what does that cost, I guess, would be the question, right? So, and then to Councilor McGuinness's point is, okay, so where do we find do we have money? And if we don't have money, where do we find it? And what does that, basically, where are we going to take that from? And is it a reduction in service somewhere, or is it a project that we're deferring and shifting, or those I just need to know the consequences of if we do this. What does that mean?
Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor Paquette. Thank you for bringing this forward as well, because I think it has been on everyone's minds. And, you know, we would love to do all of the roads, but that's just not possible. So as always, my take is I like to see a plan. And if we could systematically do it, so we know that there's a lot of roads that need to be done. So I think that taxpayers might like to see a plan going forward. And if we could get that plan and start with development, or if, you know, like, do we know that this is the worst that we have? So if we could have a plan, do development, then what's next? And then I think if people see that we actually have a plan, that they might, and that the work is actually getting done. And, you know, they can understand if there are hiccups along the way, but this is our goal. We have some goals, we set some goals, and that's what we're working towards.
Okay, Councillor Featherstone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with anything. I mean, if we can do more development without affecting the budget too much, that would be great. I like seeing progress. I definitely think everybody's trying to save their pennies and cut corners as much as we can, but still providing great service. And you know, the roads unfortunately are just left in such disarray that we're gonna have to bite the bullet and start paying it out.
Okay. So I guess I am of the same opinion. I think we're in a very difficult position right now. We asked for a huge increase in our taxes. Anytime I've been questioned about it is, well, I know our taxes went up, but we want to see something for our taxes as well. So, and I don't want to upset things by, it's just that the contractors are there, they're doing the work, everything is in play right now. And is there a possibility we can do that without affecting our budget? Or if we could bring a bit of funds forward once we determine what the cost would be, whether the pulverizing the bad spots. And I know when I first called you on Friday, I didn't realize, I know there's bad spots, but when I drove down there Saturday, I think there's more bad spots.
Yeah, it's more than a spot.
Yeah. So that's where we are at, and council, all of council and our staff is trying to make the best of getting the roads back in order. And I know that railway is another issue. Trunk Road is not that bad. I go up and down Trunk Road every time I come over here from Brother Glen, and I don't find it is as bad as development. I really think development is probably the worst. And we're doing work out on Pine Lake. So I think with this motion, it says that if there's a possibility that we can do it, we're willing to move forward on it. And if there are additional funds in the budget, all the better. If we find, once the CAO and the manager of Public Works finds that it's not a good idea, or we can't move forward, then the council, I believe council is willing to accept that. But in the event that we do find the money after the other work is done and there is money there without affecting the budget, then Public Works will be just in the position that they can move forward without coming back to council and asking to do that work.
Right.
Okay.
And go ahead.
and I would assume, and again, my roads knowledge is not as deep as some, but by doing this, really, we're just getting a jump start on future work on development. It's not going backwards in any way, other than, yes, we're turning it from cold patch over cold patch to gravel. Can't call it anything else but cold patch over cold patch. So yeah, I just want to make sure that, like, by doing this, we're not wasting time or money. This is just, we're
Is
ahead
that
of
going
schedule, right?
backwards?
Good.
What do you,
Yeah.
what was spent last year? Can anybody go off the top of their head
What
with
was spent
cold
last year?
patch?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I heard a number of 60,000, but I don't know
Yeah.
for sure.
And I think it was put, I heard 50.
Yeah, so we're in that ballpark.
Between 50 and
Yeah,
60, we'll
60,
call it
yeah,
there, yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I think it
Yeah.
all went down on that end of development.
And that we're working on, yeah.
I mean, the only thing, a comment I'd add to that is nothing has been really done in 8, 9 years. And we've just, council has worked hard to get these projects going. I mean, people got to give us a chance. You know, we're just getting going. We're finding funding, and like, we can't do every road. We can't do every bad spot, but we have made a 4-kilometer great start.
Yes, and I agree with that. It was good driving down there with just the gravel on
Right.
the road.
Right.
And I think that's probably what made me think, well, driving on that, the gravel is much more bearable than
And
the cold patches.
the only other thing is it'll be more labor intensive for this crew going from gravel, chip seal, gravel, chip seal. It will cause some issues, just potholes and
Chips it. They'd have
the
to grade.
transition, like the transition points will be rough.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
then, so are we gonna hear about, oh, the transitions are rough, like all the time? So
Yeah,
we're
but
kind
there's so many transitions of.
Well,
sorry.
I
Jeez,
think,
don't know. Just cut
sorry.
right off there, right? No, I don't know.
sorry.
Jacob.
Yeah, sorry, Jacob
Go
came
ahead.
out there.
Jacob. Sorry, Jacob. No, that's something we have to take into consideration too, like, Jason said, are we going backwards by putting gravel on there when we've had the roads, pavement? But I don't know.
right now we're splitting hairs because it's so bad.
Yeah,
Mm.
and by backwards, I don't mean, I get the fact that gravel is probably not as great as, well, it's better than cold
Chip
patch,
seal.
obviously, but it's not as great as good chip seal. I meant backwards from a workflow perspective, like, it's not, come next year, they're gonna be going, oh my God, you doubled their work because you pulverized it in the fall. Why didn't you wait till the spring? And that's the piece I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, people just gotta give us a chance to get this ball rolling and have patience. That's
And
what,
come up with a plan. If we had a good plan to know and tell people what the plan is, right? So right now they know that we're doing 4 kilometers of development and Pine Lake. And so if we actually have, these are our priorities, then it'll be the next 4 kilometers on development and Mark Street or what have you. And then, so that's how we're going to systematically go.
and the cost value, we're at what, 800,000 that we're spending? Like, there's only
600?
so many limits. No, between the 2 jobs. There's only
Yeah, we're
600,
623,
yeah.
and there's the operating costs that are in there.
So, I
yes.
mean, there's only so much money in
Yes.
the pot.
Steve?
Hey, so I just wanted to speak on the tax rates too. Like, I've had a lot of people ask, like, it's 8% tax increase, but I mean, post-pandemic, everything is way more expensive between gas and deliveries and groceries and like everything. So everything that we're paying for is extensively more expensive than it was, a year ago or even 2 years before that. So, you can't really expect an 8% tax increase and then all these other projects getting finished as well. We're just trying to stay even status quo at some points.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
that's-
sorry, and if I can add to that, do you
Sure.
mind? And I know I've said it, but I'll just harp on it again with the province having frozen assessments. So what you would have seen before is your assessment value of your house would have gone up, and then you would have a smaller tax increase, but it would have been the same amount of money that you would have been paying. It would have amounted to 8% increase. It would have been 3 or 4% in assessment and 3 or 4% in tax ratio, it's the same amount of money, but municipalities is left looking like the bad guy, like, oh, we have to throw these big numbers out there. It's always been that if you add up what your tax assessment and your ratio number is, it's always gone up about that.
And when you look at all the surrounding municipalities, it's not like we jumped higher than everybody
No.
else. We're in the same, everybody else has gone up roughly the same
Right.
percentages.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's more than what I figured when I had asked on Friday. I think the worst part of it is where you go on Mother Glen line and turn up there. I don't know.
Down towards McNutt.
Yeah,
Yep, no, I agree with what you're asking, but is the money there to do it?
So my final thought.
okay.
I don't make any promises on that though. So I agree with Councillor Clark. I'd like to see the bigger plan happen. I am confident, and I don't want to speak on behalf of either, that development will continue to be a priority for us moving forward. So I don't feel like we're gonna do this and then park development for the next 10 years and not do the rest of it.
No.
So that's my only confidence in, yep, we have, like, if this was way off the mark and all of a sudden we're talking about some obscure street that we haven't even, I'd be like, oh no, let's put this as part of the plan. But this is kind of that next phase of development. So it makes logical sense to me if we have the money and it's not gonna start impacting huge services other places. And if it is, come back to council and we can have a conversation about where our comfort level is in cutting service and or other projects. But if there's money and if there's time, I'm fine with this one moving forward.
Okay, have they got the traffic counts back yet? Do you know?
They're still working at the details on the analysis, but it is out there.
It's coming, eh?
Yes. Yeah, it should be in the next public works. Or, yeah, around the same time the roads need studies coming out, it'll be out there.
Okay,
The report will be out
well,
Can you call the question again and just read it? I just wanna, if you don't mind.
not at all. Okay, whereas council has passed the capital budget with road improvements started in 2023 as ditching and gravel on Pine Lake Road and chip and seal on Development Road from South Shore Road to Line 3. And whereas the condition of the remaining portions of Development Road are also in poor condition, now therefore council agrees to pulverize and gravel the remainder of Development Road in 2023 if there are additional funds in the budget. Now, it's not the full remainder of Development Road, it's the remainder of the bad sections,
spots,
right?
yeah. I don't know what that, I mean, I don't know what it translates into kilometers, the bad spots.
there. Right. Do you want me to go through the report in a little bit? Just to.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so when the question was first posed on Friday, and then we spent today doing some of the research on that. So there, after these 4 kilometers, from line 3 to Trout Pond is not in terrible shape. That's probably the best section. And then from Trout Pond to Mount Pleasant,
Mount Pleasant,
right? So that would be 6 kilometers additional that would kind of take us to the end of development. So there's 8 kilometers in total that would have to still be done after these 4 kilometers are done. Of that, 4 kilometers are really bad. The Bichot and McNutt are the worst areas and to do those ones. Public Works did recommend it not be a stop and go, like pulverize it all, because as the road freezes, then the pile will hit that chip seal. So it's just going to keep taking the chip seal off wherever those transitions are. And then you will still get complaints about the transitions when you're going down on the bumps. When it freezes, so fall and the spring, both of them, there'll be some inconveniences there as well. The current budget that we have in capital, and this is just on the funding that we have, is $623,000, almost 624. And of that, 539 was for these 4 kilometers on Development Road. That's pulverized, the gravel and the chip seal. So a lot of people commented on the gravel as soon as we were done pulverizing, and they thought that the pulverizing was gravel. So then today the gravel is getting put on, so then they'll understand the difference between the pulverizing and the gravel. So if you just pulverize that and the whole 8 kilometers, you're probably between $28,000 and $30,000 to get that done. And then next year we will have AMO and NORDS funding as well, which will probably bring in another $400,000 to add to the $100,000 that's in reserve right now. So that you will just reach the $540,000 that we have for the 4 kilometers on Development Road. So if you pulverize all of it, then 4 kilometers will stay, or even if it's just the 6 kilometers for those 2 kilometers that are good, some of that will stay just pulverized for like 2 to 3 years in order to save up more money to get to the $550,000 that you need. The part on Development Road that goes beyond the 4 kilometers that we're doing this year require dig outs.
Ditching dig outs.
So the culverts have been relined, but there's still a lot of dig outs that have to happen. So that's going to add to the cost. So, you know, what we got done this year for $540,000 is not going to be what we can get done next year for
Yeah,
$540,000.
You're gonna cut that in half at least. For 540,000,
just
you're
the-
gonna cut that in half once we start doing dig outs and frost tapers.
So 2 kilometers.
Yeah,
Ish.
yeah. So if you pulverize now, and I understand the need and the want to pulverize now, there, like, we don't have a plan in place for when that will get gravel, like the actual granular A, and I don't know when it will be chip sealed. Just because we only have $400,000 coming in from the provincial government, that's our capital money that we use for roads. There's 50,000 in granular that we do in our stockpile. So every year there's a little bit more that will accumulate, and that's the plan so that we can get gravel on some of the dirt roads. So we don't want to use it all on Development Road, because then that takes away the spots that we need to fix on the other roads as well. So if it's pulverized, parts of it will stay pulverized for some time.
I guess my only comment also is that there was a lot of comments on this 4 kilometers, and people have no clue what they're talking about. But they thought the gravel was down and that was back to asphalt, chip sealed. Like, they have, you know, they speak about it, but they don't know
If
about it.
only there were a place they could go for information.
Right.
See your council meetings.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of my, like, if you don't know why you're commenting, like, you could ask questions, but don't, you know.
Well, welcome to social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's,
and
we're not
again-
gonna solve that nut.
No, but I mean, like I said, it's.
But if we can, again, give out as much information as
Oh,
we
yeah.
can in the most accessible manner, so it's nice that I can see on the website, there's an explanation of what's going on development. We've done that on our Facebook page, so maybe we can say a road plan is coming, you know, the needs assessment is coming, or the roads assessment is coming in a few weeks, and then there will be a road plan, right? So that's kind of our ultimate goal.
Yeah, Steve,
Now with the social media too, I like numbers. I like putting everything out there for people with like full transparency. So, I mean, everybody wants the road done in full. Why can't we do a post to be like, hey, look, if we did this entire road this year, here's what it would cost, and here's how much our taxes would go up. You know, everybody wants these big ticket items done, but nobody really knows what the budget is if they're not following along, and nobody knows or understands how much all this stuff costs, myself included. I had no clue until I took on this role as council how expensive things are for road maintenance and for like landfill costs and things like that. So just the more open and transparent that we are with people, then they can understand, hey, this is a big ticket item. This is going to take a few years to progress.
that's correct.
Yes.
I just want to give you a shout out for bringing this forward, because we've all heard it from the constituents, and you decided to take the bull by the horns and have a conversation about it. So appreciate that. I think regardless if we can find the money or not, I think everyone's gonna appreciate that we've had this conversation and you sparked that. So I just wanted to thank you for that. I think it'll go a long way in helping to show our constituents how much we actually care. So
Thank you, Jason. I know that council has difficulty dealing with the fact that we don't have a lot of money. We're trying to do what we can do. And I appreciate council coming out tonight too to discuss this, because I'm sure it'll clear up a lot for the people that we're doing our utmost to try and get the roads in better condition. And Pine Lake has, we've worked back there and we're on to development. And with this motion, I think it says that we will go as far as we can go without affecting our budget or without, if we can't do it, we've tried, and this is as far as we can go then. So at this point, once we pass this motion, it'll be back to staff.
And we'll
Okay.
prepare a report
Yep,
for your September 26th meeting, or do you want it for the public works?
pardon?
No, I guess it would have to be for the next council meeting,
Yeah,
because
we-
we're
Yeah.
really running out of time. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah, and yeah.
does anybody want this a recorded vote?
I don't, I mean,
I think everyone's gonna see our hands, but if you'd like to, I'm fine
Yes.
with it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
yeah,
Yeah,
let's go. Donna, for Jason,
yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Dan,
yes.
Neri, yes.
Is he gone?
Where am I going to sign? Right here, I guess.
That works.
Perfect.
Okay. Oh, you need to put the time in it. Okay, moved by Councillor McGinnis, seconded by Councillor Corbett. The council now hereby adjourns at 5:27 PM. All in favor? Carried. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, Council Featherstone and Council for coming to the meeting tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Night,
everyone.
guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Night, Steve.
You guys all have meetings